نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We begin with Allah's blessed name, we praise Him and we glorify Him as He ought to be praised and glorified. And we pray for peace and for blessings on all His noble messengers, including the last of them all, the blessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, as we greet you from my sitting room here in the Caribbean island of Trinidad on this, the 17th day of the month of Shaban, in the year 1447, with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And this video is entitled, Calling Iran Before It Is Too Late. And from the time that the revolution, Islamic revolution, took place in Iran 46 years ago, in 1979. I was a doctoral student at the Graduate Institute of of International Studies in Geneva at that time when the revolution occurred. I was able to monitor on television during 1978 and 79, the momentous events which occurred in Iran. And from the time that that revolution took place, I have consistently praised Imam Khomeini. I have also said Imam Khomeini, rahimahullah. I have praised the revolution in Iran as a step in the right direction. And I have praised the people of Iran who came out in huge numbers. Millions of them came out to demonstrate on the streets of Iran against the regime of the Shah. And eventually, after the regime of the Shah had killed, I don't know, maybe they killed 1 million Iranians, eventually the regime collapsed. And Imam Khomeini returned to Iran as a triumphant leader, leading his people to freedom from oppression. And I commended them, I applauded them. And I also said that Iran has set the model for the rest of the world of Islam. That if the rest of the world of Islam is ever to win freedom from oppression, it will be by a similar process of the masses coming out on the streets to demonstrate against oppression and evil. If this had been done in Pakistan and consistently, today Pakistan would be free and Imran Khan will not be in prison. But the people of Pakistan suspended it. If this had been done in Egypt, in Morocco, in other countries, the world of Islam would have experienced more freedom if they had followed the Iranian model. And all through the years, these last 46 years, I've always consistently praised Iran, particularly for its foreign policy. That Iran has consistently stood up with courage and integrity to support the cause of the Palestinian people, Christian as well as Muslim, against Israeli Zionist oppression. And Iran has suffered as a consequence of standing up for truth and justice. I have always supported Iran for the wisdom of its foreign policy, of building fraternal ties with Russia, to such an extent that now Iran is a strategic partner of Russia. And Iran has complemented that with building important ties with China as well. But most of all, I have always admired Imam Khomeini. Imam Khomeini, who did what no other leader ever did. Imam Khomeini stood up, pointed his finger at Washington, and with incredible courage and integrity, he pointed to Washington. He said, "This is Shaitanul Kabir." Nobody dares to do that today. Not at all. So I have supported and complimented Imam Khomeini and the Islamic Revolution in Iran. And my critics have said, Imran Hosein is Shia. These are schoolboy responses. No, I'm not Shia. And I have differences with the Shia belief system. But I admire the revolution in Iran. However, I now today must make some comments concerning Iran, which may hurt some of the leaders in Iran. But I don't do it as an enemy. No. I'm not doing it as an enemy. I'm doing it as your brother who loves you, and your brother who has always stood by you. I've visited Iran many times. Whenever I have visited Iran, I've always been welcomed in a loving way. They've always treated me with kindness and love and shown respect for my scholarship. I hope that will not change today when I offer the comments which I now am going to offer for the first time. The people of Iran, who are all 50 years of age or younger, must be described as the children of the Islamic Revolution, because the Islamic Revolution took place 46 years ago. So those who were 5, 6, 7 years of age at that time were children, and those who were born since then, all of these 50, 55 years of age in Iran, you have to be described as children of the Islamic Revolution in Iran. And so today we have to address not only the children of the revolution, but those who were old enough at the time of the revolution to participate in it. The world of Shia Islam responded in 1979 by recognizing the Islamic Revolution in Iran for them to be a validation of the Shia belief system. The Shia belief system differed from ours. Our belief system is that the Khilafah state was established by Nabi Muhammad ﷺ after it was established by Nabi Dawood ﷺ and Nabi Sulaiman ﷺ, the prophets David and Solomon. The second Khilafah state was established by Nabi Muhammad ﷺ in Medina in his lifetime. And he lived for 10 years and then he died. But the Khilafah state did not collapse when he died. The first Khilafah state collapsed when Nabi Solomon alayhi salam, when he died, it collapsed. And the Israelite people were weeping after the Babylonian army came and destroyed the state of Israel and took them in bondage or slavery to Babylon. And they were weeping by the waters of Babylon because they had lost the Khilafah state. But our Khilafah state, which was established in Medina by Nabi Muhammad survived when he died. And we recognize that it survived with integrity. When Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu became the successor of the Prophet to lead the state. And after him, Umar radiallahu ta'ala, Umar ibn al-Khattab, became a successor to Abu Bakr Siddiq and became the ruler of the Khilafah state. And so to Usman ibn Affan, 3 of them, and then Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So our view is that the Khilafah state survived with integrity. while these four khulafa ruled over the Islamic State. And the world of Islamic scholarship have honored them by referring to them as al-Khulafa Rashidun, the rightly guided leaders. And then we found the forces of counter-revolution emerging in the body of Islam, with the monarchy emerging, family rule emerging with Muawiyah and with his son Yazid. And then came that epochal moment in our history when the grandson of the Prophet, Allah's blessings be upon him, was martyred in an event that is unforgettable. And what they did to him and to his head after he died, in the same way that the kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro took place, because it was ordered by Trump. So those American soldiers who landed in Caracas and did the kidnapping, of course they'll have to pay for that. On Judgment Day, they'll be judged. But the mastermind who ordered it is Trump. So on Trump, I'm telling you this message, President Trump, prepare for Judgment Day, when you'll have to stand up before Allah and you'll have to answer for the kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, who was the president of Venezuela. And I'm sorry for you on that day. Similarly, it was not the army which killed Imam Hosein at Karbala. They, of course, will have to answer on Judgment Day. But it's those who sent the army. In this case, it was Trump who sent them. In that case, it was Yazid. And Muawiyah was the one who put Yazid where he is. And he has a responsibility for the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. But what happened in history is that the sectarian movement emerged as a consequence of what happened in Karbala. And a new belief system emerged that no, as soon as the Prophet died, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the Khilafah state lost integrity as soon as he died. This is the Shia belief. The Khilafah state lost integrity because Abu Bakr Siddiq was a bogus Khalifa. This is correct language I'm using. And Umar was a bogus Khalifa. You can't criticize me for my language. This is exactly the language you use. And Uthman was a bogus Khalifa. And the rightful Khalifa should have been Ali. This is the divide between the Shia and the Sunni. But it's more than that. The Shia believe that this was divinely ordained, that Allah is the one who ordained that the Ahlul Bayt must rule over the world of Islam. And truth was left by Allah. When the Prophet died, he left two things. He left the Quran and he left Ahlul Bayt. And this is what you must use to be able to survive. So long as you hold on to the Quran and you hold on to Ahlul Bayt, you can never go astray. People will never stand up to demonstrate against you. No, not when you have the Quran and you have Ahlul Bayt. You will not have to kill 3,000 people in demonstrations. No, because you have the Quran and you have Ahlul Bayt. You will never go astray. My language is a little harsh today. But other than harsh language, how can I wake you up? How can I wake you up? There is a fundamental difference between our views on this subject. We reject the view that Allah has ordained that Ahlul Bayt must rule over this ummah. And if we reject what Allah has ordained, then we are kuffar. How come you never say Imran Hosein is kafir? Yeah, the Maulanas in Britain, they say Imran Hosein is kafir. But the Shia have never said Imran Hosein is kafir. I'm sorry for laughing. It's so foolish. However, Whenever I have come to go to Iran, you have always treated me with respect. You've always respected my scholarship. So here is a fundamental difference. And when the revolution took place in 1979, the Shia world responded with conviction that this was a validation of the Shia claim to truth. Let me repeat that statement. When the revolution took place successfully in Iran in 1979, the Shia world, largely the Shia world, responded by recognizing this success as a validation of the Shia claim to truth. Today, I have to remind you of that. Because if today the Iranian people are turning against the revolution, and if they're going out on the streets and demonstrating against the revolution, and these are the children of the revolution, these are the ones who are all less than 50, 55 years of age, they are the ones who are on the street. Then, if the revolution collapses, then that will invalidate your claim to truth by your own yardstick. Your own measuring rod will now invalidate your claim to truth. So now then, when Islam came to Medina, it lit a fire in the hearts of all those who became Muslims. They would die for Islam. Every single one of them would die for Islam. Every single one of them will die for the Khilafah state. That was the community we had. And the longer the Islamic State in Medina lived during the lifetime of the Prophet, the stronger and stronger it became. Until by the time of Hudaybiyah and then Fateh Makkah, we became strongest of all. So by the time the Prophet ﷺ performed the farewell Hajj, the Islamic State was at its zenith. So we are accustomed to moving uphill with the Khilafah state, not downhill. He had only 10 years. You have had 46 years. You have to explain to the world, how is it after 46 years, all of these who've been born after the revolution, or who were children when the revolution took place, so many of them are now not happy with the revolution. And the enemy is able to exploit the situation. It is not that the Muslims, the Shia Muslims of Iran are betraying Islam, that they want to leave Islam. That is not the case. It is not that they are siding with the enemies of Islam, joining hands with Israel, joining hands with the United States to cut the throat of the revolution. That is false. That is nonsense. It is that Israel is exploiting an opportunity, and the United States is exploiting an opportunity because they are protesting in Iran. And the question we have to ask is, why is this happening? And we need honest answers. We don't need propaganda. We need honest answers. One of the very first reasons why there are all these protests in Iran is a subject I've been teaching you in Iran for 25 years or more. That's a long time. I went to Iran myself and I lectured on the subject. I met with so many ayatollahs in Iran to discuss the subject with them about money, about the Iranian rial, about the Iranian toman. And I explained to them that this money was bogus, this money was fraudulent, this money was haram. I did this to Afghanistan as well. When there was an Islamic government in Afghanistan 25, 30 years ago, and Afghanistan said, no, Imran, you're wrong, we don't agree with you. Yes, they accepted the bogus money as halal. I tried to teach this subject to Pakistan, but nobody can teach Pakistan anything. No, the brainwashing in Pakistan is even more than in Afghanistan. So I failed with Afghanistan. I failed with Pakistan, and I was teaching it to Iran. Some of the Ayatollahs I met in Iran accepted that the monetary system was bogus and fraudulent and haram. I have to pray for Allah's mercy on the soul of that great man, Ayatollah Shirazi. And this was an elderly man in Qom. And I went to his home, and he had so many of his students sitting on the floor, on the carpet. And I sat with them until the old man came and sat next to me. And this old man held my hands while talking to me. He held my hands. Unforgettable. And this old man taught me a lesson on riba I could not teach in 1,000 lectures, to show how riba sucks the wealth of the people and leaves them in destitution and poverty. And that's why they're protesting. He took 2 mugs, one with water and the other with lemonade. And he took 10 glasses and he started pouring water and lemonade, but diluting the lemonade in each glass until eventually the last glass, he said, taste it. I couldn't taste any lemonade. It was only water. He said, that's riba. That's how they rip off the people, suck the wealth of the country, and eventually you end up in destitution. This monetary system is riba. That man has now died. May Allah have mercy on his soul. But he recognized it as haram, and he was an Ayatollah. I met in Shiraz with Ayatollah bin Azadi. And Ayatollah bin Azadi also agreed with me. He said about the monetary system, the rial and the toman. He said, this is the root of all evil in Iran. But then I met with one of the greatest Ayatollahs in Iran. I can't mention his name. And I tried to talk to him about the subject of money. It was like talking to a blank wall. I couldn't make no sense. No, sir, he didn't know anything on the subject. I don't want to talk more about him. But the Ayatollahs told me in Iran, Sheikh, you have to go to Ayatollah Khamenei yourself. And you have to convince him that the money which is being used in Iran is bogus and fraudulent and haram. And if you can get him to change his views, then all of Iran will agree, and the dinar and dirham will be established in Iran. I said to them, I will never do such a thing. My duty is simply to teach, and I've done my job to teach. You must now bring the change. 46 years have passed, and Iran is still using bogus money, like Pakistan, like Afghanistan, like the rest of the world of Islam. But you are the Islamic Revolution. A million Iranians had to die for you to bring this revolution to success. They're shuhada. What have you done in 46 years? Dajjal is the one who brought modern Western civilization into being. You don't even recognize that as yet. How long do you take to recognize that? And modern Western civilization is the one who has brought this monetary system. The International Monetary Fund has prohibited the use of gold as money. That is shirk. That is haram. To make haram what Allah made halal is shirk. To make haram what Allah made halal is shirk, is kufr. And that's what this international monetary system has done. The reason why they have prohibited the use of gold as money is because they wanted to make sure that the paper money would not collapse. And once there is paper money, they can rule over you. They can bring down governments. But you do not have the knowledge to understand the subject, and you would not listen to me. If you are to make a change in Iran, if this revolution is not to collapse tomorrow, if you are to survive, you have to listen to me. You have to return to dinar and dirham as money. This is what is going to be money when Nabi Isa Islam returns. This is what going to be money when Imam al-Mahdi comes. Why are you waiting? If you use dinar and dirham as money, then you create a threat to the Western world and to the Judeo-Christian Zionist alliance, more powerful than any nuclear weapon. Muammar Gaddafi was attempting to do it in Libya. Look what they did to him. But you are stronger than he is. You are more powerful than he is. And if you were to bring dinar and dirham into your economy, then you will not suffer from inflation. Not at all. Inflation will vanish. Allah prohibits inflation in the Quran twice or three times. He says, وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. That is a prohibition of inflation. So if you are to fix Iran, if you are to solve the problem of all these young people demonstrating against the Islamic revolution and the government, you have to make a change with the economy. I have been saying this to you for 25 years. You've never listened to me. And if you don't listen to me, tomorrow you'll collapse. They're not only protesting because of rising prices. The monetary system is only part of the reason for economic poverty and distress in Iran. They're also demonstrating because of economic hardship. And economic hardship is taking place because of riba. It's not just in Iran, it's all over the world. Riba is sucking the blood of the people, and the world is now moving towards slavery. That's what they are demonstrating against. If you have an Islamic government, then the Islamic government, the Islamic revolution, should be able to fix the economy. How come? 46 years, and you still can't fix the economy? What's wrong with you? Where are your scholars? Where is your claim to truth, that you have the truth? You are the people who have the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt. You have the truth. That is your claim. How come you can't fix the economy in 46 years? Why is it that the market, listen carefully, why is it that the market in Tehran is filled with thieves? That's right. People are being ripped off in the market in Iran. And Allah has sent the means by which you can restore a free and a fair market and preserve a free and a fair market. I don't have the time to give a lecture 1 hour long on how to establish a free and a fair market. I've been doing it all my life, but you wouldn't listen to me. But Allah has not only told us how to establish a free and a fair economy in 46 years, Why is it that the market, listen carefully, why is it that the market in Tehran is filled with thieves? That's right. People are being ripped off in the market in Iran. And Allah has sent a means by which you can restore a free and a fair market and preserve a free and a fair market. I don't have the time to give a lecture 1 hour long on how to establish a free and a fair market. I've been doing it all my life, but you wouldn't listen to me. But Allah has not only told us how to establish a free and a fair market, and you don't have it in Iran, even after 46 years. It is not in Pakistan, it is not in Afghanistan, it is nowhere in the world of Islam today. You had more of a free and a fair market in the Ottoman Empire than you have today, despite the fact that the Ottoman Empire was making mistakes. It is not only that we have a sunnah of a free and a fair market, not only that we have the Quran calling for a free and a fair market, but let me explain something which should be simple to understand. That Allah has given us a philosophy of punishment which guarantees the protection of a free and a fair market. Allah has given us punishment which has a philosophy of reformation, to reform people. The people who make mistakes can correct themselves when punished. Reformatory punishment. And then Allah has given punishment which is retributive, an eye for an eye, a nose for a nose. Retributive punishment. If you hit me, I have the right to hit you. But Allah has given us something more as punishment. How come you don't know about it? How come you're not implementing it? It's called deterrent punishment. That I am punishing you so that no one else will do what you did. That is deterrent punishment. And insofar as the free and the fair market is concerned, Allah says, cut off the hand of the thief. Not if he stole a mango. No, you wouldn't steal a mango and lose your hand, but something of some value. And not when there is hardship and famine in the land and people steal because of that reason. No, we suspend the law in famine. But when you are in a normal market, as you have had in Iran for 46 years, then if someone steals in the market, you cut off his hand. And from the time you cut off the first hand, nobody's going to steal after that. You won't have thieves in the market anymore. I asked the Islamic Revolution in Iran, how many hands have you cut off? How come deterrent punishment is not working in Iran? How come the market is full of thieves? Don't tell me I'm false, I'm wrong in my information. I have my students who left Europe because of me and went back to Iran. They're Shia and they're my students. And when they went back to Iran to try to do business, they said to us, Sheikh, the market is filled with thieves. We've got to go back to Europe. And they went back to Europe. This is my students. And so if you want to stop the people from demonstrating on the streets, fix the monetary system, restore a free and a fair market, implement, it in Arabic is called the hudud. I call it the philosophy of punishment. Punishment which is reformatory, punishment which is retributive, and punishment which is deterrent punishment. But there is more. more to explain what is happening in Iran. And the enemies of Iran are simply exploiting a door which you have opened for them. That's right. And now you have to ask the question, why is it that so many young people in Iran want freedom to live a way of life that is incompatible with the Islamic revolution? That is my question. How do you explain that so many young people in Iran who are children of the revolution, so many of them are now demonstrating they want freedom? Freedom for what? Answer: freedom to live a way of life which is incompatible with the Islamic revolution. How do you explain that? If you had Islam, if you had the Islam which came from the Quran and from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, then the children of the revolution will give their lives to protect Iran and will demonstrate against Israel and the United States. Stay away! We don't need your help. Stay away! You are our enemies. But no, Israel is exploiting the situation. The Mujahideen Khalqa exploiting this. That's the name they give for themselves. I didn't give them that name. And the United States and Europe is exploiting the situation. So how do you explain? They don't want to live the way of life of hijab. They want to take off the hijab. They want to be free. They don't want to cover themselves with what you call the chadar. They want to wear clothing which is tight-fitting, which is erotic and sexy clothing. They want to mingle. Boys and girls want to mingle, and they want to enjoy themselves in intimate encounters. When this is what they see from the Western world, and they want to live that way of life, which is incompatible with the revolution. In Pakistan, they've given up. They've resigned. We can't stop them. So in Pakistan, the young people are free to dance all through the night. In Iran, they're struggling the same way as in Afghanistan. They're struggling as they're in Iran. But they're losing the struggle in Afghanistan. And you are losing the struggle in Iran. And so my question is, how do you explain? If you have the true Islam, then this should not be happening. If you had the true Islam, then the children of the revolution would be in love with the Quran. The children of the revolution will be in love with Islam. The children of the revolution will give their lives for Islam. The children of the revolution will not be demonstrating the way they're demonstrating. And so, it's time for you to wake up. Your scholars have to wake up. It's time for you to listen. And I am saying to you that the Islam that you are presenting to them in Iran is not attractive to them. It's not attractive to them. The Islam that we had in Medina was so attractive that all the slaves wanted to become Muslim. The Islam was such that all the oppressed became Muslim. The Islam was such that the young people were foremost, up front, in defending the revolution waged by Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Before I end this appeal to Iran, before you collapse, because collapse is facing you in your face, you can't hide it. Collapse is facing you in your face. If this is what you're facing today, wait and see what tomorrow comes in store. because the cell phone and the smartphone and the internet has come to stay. And they're spreading the Western propaganda all the time. And Dajjal is at work. And your young people, instead of falling in love with the Quran, are dancing with Dajjal. That's why you have the demonstrations on the street. How do you do it? How do you respond to it? How do you solve the problem? You don't solve the problem with the police. You cannot solve the problem with the Revolutionary Guards. You cannot solve the problem with tear gas. You cannot solve the problem by killing another 3,000 that you've already killed. The way to solve the problem is to give them a version of Islam that these young people will fall in love with it. They will fall in love with the Quran. How many times do I have to say this to you? You will not listen to me. Before I end, one more thing. It's not just deterrent punishment in the Quran, but Allah asks you to establish deterrent power. Allah speaks in Surah Al-Anfal, and He says, it's a command, وَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَمِن رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ. Why does Allah want you to build power? Answer, تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ وَعَدُوَّكُمْ. I want you to build power so that you can use power as a deterrent. Korea has nuclear power, and Korea has demonstrated effectively that it is using that nuclear power as a deterrent. They cannot attack Korea. No. They could attack Iran. They could kill the head of the Iranian armed forces. They could kill and assassinate the head of the Revolutionary Guards. They could kill 6 nuclear scientists. I don't know what Mohammed they killed. They could bomb Iranian nuclear sites. And what can you do except to shoot off some missiles? And they will come again and again and again. When will you wake up Iran to understand? You have to do what Korea did. You have to do what Pakistan did. You have to do what China did. You have to do what Russia did. When you build nuclear power, that nuclear power functions as a deterrent. And that is Allah's command in the Quran. Why is Iran a member of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty? Pakistan is not a member. Why? Answer, if you remain in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, then you will be committing a sin for which you will have to answer Judgment Day, for if you develop nuclear weapons. The only way you can become a nuclear power is the honest way and the upright way, and that is you must exit the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. We are no longer bound by the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. And then Iran must develop nuclear power, and Iran has enough friends to help them. And when you explode your first nuclear device, Israel will respect you on that day. When you explode your first nuclear device, like Indira Gandhi did in India, after the Lahore Summit Conference frightened her, then India joined the nuclear club. And then Zulfikar Ali Bhutto declared, even if we have to eat grass, that's what he said, even if we have to eat grass, we have to develop a nuclear deterrent. That's the way for you forward in Iran. If you don't listen to me today, tomorrow you'll collapse. I will weep when you collapse because you are my brothers and I love you. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.